It's Dub Talk Live, brought to you by Mancini Sleep World with Zena, Keita. I'm Kerith, Burke. Look what happens when you take care of the basketball. 5 turnovers for the Warriors, and then 39 assists. Ooh, that's on 49 makes right there. This was one of the points of emphasis for the game to start the road trip off on the right note. And Zena, what were the things you noticed that helped the Warriors turn this thing around in the second half?
Well, one of the things that we just talked about was turnovers. And the Bulls came into this game second in the league with the least amount of turnovers, period. They only average about 12. That's exactly the amount they had tonight, and the Warriors were able to capitalize on them. That's something that the Warriors don't often do when you look at who they play against and how well they take care of the ball in transition when they're forcing turnovers. They were able to do that really well. And the other thing was defensive rating for the Bulls. They're 15th in the league in being able to keep people down to 113 points per game. The Warriors scored 140.
How many?
140. That's a lot of points.
That's a lot of points.
That's a lot of points, folks.
Okay.
And so being able to do that against a decent defensive team, I think that's huge for the Warriors to do so, especially after the demoralizing losses that they had this week.
All right, it was a cold start for both Steph and Klay. They overcame that in the second half. Let's zero in on Klay because he was 1 of 6 in that first half.
Yes.
But then he erupted in the second half, came out and hit 2 threes right away, forced the Bulls to take a timeout, and then Klay kept it going in that third quarter.
Klay was complete tonight. I was so impressed with the way that not only was he proficient from a scoring perspective, I mean 7 of his 9 shots from the 3, so effective, but also an astute player from playmaking ability. He was able to find his teammates, make some great playmaking opportunities for them. 6 assists, 6 rebounds, 2 of them offensive. His game, like I said, was a total game. And this is exactly what the Warriors have been looking for out of their vets. When you keep talking about, Stephen Curry and this burden that he's been carrying, right? Kerr said before this game in his last media availability, the burden that Steph has to carry is unfair. And when he has to be able to share that burden, it has to be amongst the other vets, and particularly his splash bro. And so, of course, Klay has been scoring well, but being able to have a total game like this, 17-point third quarter, especially when the Warriors needed a spurt coming out of that dry first half. They were only down 13, but that's exactly what they needed out of Klay, and he brought it.
I like how you put that, a dry first half for the Splash Brothers. Yes, 5 of 5 on 3 for Klay, finished with 30 points to lead the team. Steph also came around. We're going to talk about Steph a little later in the show. We need to talk about who went back into the starting lineup. Andrew Wiggins. He started this game with the 3. Next possession, or next bucket he had was a dunk, and finally, Andrew Wiggins had that smile back.
Ooh, I know everybody in Dub Nation is happy to see this version of Andrew Wiggins, this aggressive, dominant, confident version of Andrew Wiggins. Sometimes this season you've watched him with the ball and you're kind of like, is he okay?
Is he even touching the ball?
Is he touching the ball? Is he looking at the basket? And then you see now tonight this craftiness underneath that. Ooh, European Euro step. Take your passports out, folks. I mean, even Draymond had to mimic it. It was unreal to be able to see him come alive tonight. And this is exactly what the Warriors needed out of him. Because remember, we've been looking for that tertiary scorer. And that's what Andrew Wiggins was able to provide in the times that the Warriors needed a boost.
This seemed like a concerted effort for the Warriors to get him going. Okay, he had been in the reserve role for a long time. He wasn't getting a lot of touches to begin with. Started tonight, 17 and 8 assists, by the way. Also added 2 steals and 1 block. So you saw two-way Wiggs going on.
Yes.
And a team that was very happy for him to start the road trip like this. With Wiggins starting, JK's coming off the bench. Now, sometimes these guys played together, Wiggins and JK. They also closed together. JK is our BMW ultimate performer. He started the game 8 of 8, 3 of 3. How did you like how he finished things, Zena?
I think what's huge about the way Jonathan Kuminga played tonight was he was so patient. Whether it was that open wing shot right there or just being able to figure out, what are they doing? Is this my pull-up shot? Is this all the way to the basket? Or is this an opportunity to pull from 3? I thought he was incredibly patient with the decision-making tonight and still aggressive. All the way through the game, Kuminga showed us, regardless if he's starting or if he's coming off the bench, he is necessary for the Warriors. He is a bucket getter. He is someone that all the way throughout the game showed energy, brought everything that the Warriors needed, because I also love for Kuminga, not only did he, have 5 of 5 from the floor in the first half, but as he finished throughout the game, still 4 of 4 from 3. So he wasn't just jacking shots.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that that's another thing that you see sometimes is you don't want people forcing shots. In comparison, Brandon Pajemski, for example, there was a few shots tonight that he made that you were like, that's not your shot, pass it off. This was really efficient choice making, I think, from Jonathan Kuminga all the way throughout the game.
Yeah, he had a healthy mix of shots tonight. When you go 4 of 4, sometimes a young player's going to feel himself. If I was 4 of 4, I would too, but we saw him go to the rim. We also saw those moments where there was enough for everybody to eat, because Steph came on with the threes. Klay came on with the threes. Jonathan got his to eat, leading the team with 24 points off the bench. Led all bench scorers, I mean. And Steve Kerr was explaining this is probably his best game of the season, not because he was so hot from 4, but because of his energy, because of his competitiveness.
I'll
this
add
is a
one more
really
thing, though.
Sure, healthy game for Kuminga.
24 minutes,
Yeah.
0 turnovers.
There you go. Only 5 turnovers for the team. Yes. Well, and on a game where the Bulls lacked rim protection too, you can see JK feasting at the rim. You can see Wiggins going to the rim too. So the Warriors got their shots from all over the floor. They didn't have to rely on one thing. That's been a trap that they've fallen into before.
1,000%. The thing about the Andrew Kuminga, whew, look at me, already
Yeah,
making a name for it. Andrew
Yeah.
Wiggins, Jonathan Kuminga experience is this worry that they're just a duplicate of each other, right? That they're both going to be these athletic players, but it's going to show up in the same way, and they might actually end up getting in each other's way. And tonight you saw them playing off of each other. So when someone's going inside, someone's spotted up on the three-point line outside. When someone's outside, someone's dashing inside. And so you saw this nice play of what athleticism can look like when playing together. And that's very exciting, I think, for anyone around the Warriors organization to show, okay, we know both of these players are top-tier athletic scorers. And we need that. So the question of having to sacrifice one for the other tonight was answered. And you're like, hey, maybe we don't have to.
They coexisted very well today. We have to see if that can keep going, because it hasn't been the way it's been all season, although it is very encouraging. Let's hear from JK, our BMW Ultimate Performer.
I mean, I've been coming off the bench since I've been here, so that don't affect me at all. I mean, I stay professional as long as I go out there and just, like I always say, just go out there and help my team win. Just enjoying being with this group of guys every other day. I mean, it don't matter even if I play less minute and I know that I helped them winning, or just going out there and enjoying. And we win, that's all that matters. I mean, coming off the bench, maybe it was a great decision from Coach, but I can't question that, because, whoever go out there and play and help us win, that's all that matters.
Your minutes with Andrew Wiggins in previous games haven't been great. This game, it seemed like it was working out pretty well, and you've said that you want to play with him and see how it goes. What do you like about sharing the court with Wiggins?
I mean, like I said, just an effort. I love sharing a court with Wiggins because we both play defense. We both go out there and guard the best players. And it's just more of us getting to know each other better. Not off the court, because we really know each other more than anybody else, but just on the court, we haven't got chances to actually play together a certain amount of time, or even in practice, like we don't usually be on the same team, so it's tough for us to just throw us out there in the battle and just trying to figure it out, because once we mess that 1 or 2 times, the coaches won't let that happen. They're going to try to figure out something that's going to help us win. But obviously, as we talk every other day, as we watch film and just trying to figure it out to get better together, man, it's going to help us throughout the season.
JK talking about getting better together with Wiggins, also mentioning if he's going to start off the bench or if he's going to come off the bench, so be it. It's pretty mature for JK.
1,000%. I love that he said, I'm a professional regardless of where I come off the bench or start. And I think that is something that a lot of people have been wanting to see out of JK, and that's been the concern or the narrative around him, is his ability to accept some of the decisions that are made around his playing time or where he comes into the game to make an impact. Tonight, And as of late, we've seen him make an impact regardless of where he's coming in. And, I appreciate what he's saying about needing time to be able to play with Andrew Wiggins, because we've talked about this before. People underestimate the fact that there's very little practice time in the NBA, and the opportunity to play with someone being on the court during a live game. That's when you're learning someone's playing style and how to come off of them and play off of them. That's tough. That's really, really difficult. I mean, looking at the amount of times, they've played 31 games together, including tonight, and averaged 5 minutes together on the floor. That's the time mostly that Kuminga and Andrew have had to get to know each other's playing time.
Yeah.
That's not a great opportunity to be able to understand, how can I master being an effective player with this person on the floor. So I appreciate that he's saying, I want the coaches to give us a little bit more time to get to know each other. We've got to get to know each other not off the court, on the court a little bit more. And we'll probably see a little bit more magic come out of the two of them the more time they get together.
Yeah, Wiggins missed so much of last season,
Right.
most of it for the personal issues. That's one of the reasons that Jonathan Kuminga got to develop so much last year and play a large role last year. And now, finally, they're together. All right, we got to talk about Steph on the other side of the break. We did see a Curry flurry in this game, although it wasn't a hot start for our guy. He still came through in other ways. We'll talk about it when Dubs Talk Live returns.
Dubs Talk Live is presented by Mancini Sleep World. Visit Mancini Sleep World. We'll pay the sales tax on select mattresses. Or visit sleepworld.com.
Howdy, we are up on YouTube. Bree is wondering, can the Dubs please play like this forever? Y'all, we're amazing. Yep, I got that. When
That
it
would be
all comes
amazing.
together, it all comes together.
It does.
Yes, indeed.
When you see them play like this, it's when you see a showcase of their talent, and you realize this has always been there. Right? It's not
How do you draw it out?
How do you draw it out?
Yeah.
How do you draw it out, but how do you draw it out consistently? How do you draw it out on the road? How do you draw it out at home? When you're at home at a 7-game homestand and you're sleeping in your own bed.
You go 2-5.
When the times you think you would have that. So it's very interesting to see. I would love to have had audio in that locker room at halftime. Would have loved to hear
That
what
was
the
a
motivation
long
and speech was.
halftime as
It
well.
was.
A long time.
It was.
Too. You know what they're doing in there, honestly? Just looking at their phones.
They are. They're watching all of your
Just
tweets, by the
looking
way.
at your tweets, y'all. MT says, keep Jerome Robinson on the sidelines as a hype man. Jerome Robinson getting minutes for the first time that weren't end-of-game minutes. Okay, sure, we're celebrating Jerome Robinson. All right, there you go. Dino says hello from the Philippines. That is awesome. I love learning where everybody's watching. We usually have
Always
people from Australia, from
worldwide.
Brazil, from the
Yeah.
Philippines. Thank you so much. Eric in all caps says keep it going, Dubs. Yes.
This
yes,
is the energy
yes,
they
yes.
need to be playing with. This is the level of confidence they need to be playing. I feel like anytime you see Stephen Curry on the court laughing, having a good time.
Oh, yeah.
That energy is so
Contagious.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, this is a good thing to be able to pass that around. Everyone feels confident. Everyone feels loose.
Yeah.
And that's when they play well.
Well, when Steph can be amused by the shots his teammates are taking, I think that's indicative. That's like, oh, the Warriors are going to win this one.
They're having a good time.
Yeah. Welcome back to Dubs Talk Live. 23s in the game. Klay, 7. Steph, 6. Now, Steph might look at 8 of 24 and think, but you could also look at 9 assists to lead the team for Steph.
Oh, he was involved with so much more than just the offensive production on his end. That's when I think that's what Steph Curry does, is when he's not feeling it himself, he'll find a way to get his teammates involved. And I think that energizes him. But what he does for sure is when the Warriors need a little boost, they need to close the game out. You can bet on Stephen Curry, and that's exactly what he did. That's when he had that fourth quarter 15-point Curry flurry.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
I mean, this is what he does from the mid-range, too, by the way. People that say he can't do the mid-range game, oh, no. Mr. Curry has it all. And that's what the Warriors needed to close this game out, because let's just be real. In that fourth quarter, there was still 6 minutes left. There was a little bit of question
little
on whether
bit.
the Warriors could close this out.
Yeah.
And then you have to remember, oh wait, the Warriors have Stephen Curry.
Yeah. Okay.
Got it.
So 3 consecutive threes. There you go. But it felt like Klay had a burst like that. Steph had a burst like that. Wiggins started the game really well early. JK had his burst. So everybody was touching the ball. Everybody had their moment.
Yeah.
Nobody took over the game in the type of way that was like too much heat check, guys. I know you're excited, but
Right.
the heat checks were appropriate. They came at the right time. And this felt like a good team win because, as we mentioned early, Steph and Klay did not have it going at the beginning of this game. They combined in the first half for 4 of 17, 3 of 12. So Wiggins, JK, we need to mention Looney in this game going 4 of 4, plus Saric starting off well, hitting 2 threes of his own.
Yeah.
Again, team. Nice team win.
1,000%. We started the show talking about turnovers. I mean, excuse me.
Well, we
turnovers,
did. 5. Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
only 5.
Yep.
But you said 39 assists.
Yeah.
39 assists. That is an unreal number, and that is ball movement. I said throughout the game, I tweeted, the ball movement is elite tonight. It was amazing, and what I loved about it was it just looked natural. Right? It was very second nature for them to look for their teammates, whether it was the younger players or the vets trying to create opportunities for the younger players. I love the in and out game. I love the guards finding their way into the paint and finding pockets to pass off to, a Looney pass off to, a cutting Wiggins or whatever it was. I just loved it. I love the choreography of the Warriors tonight, and they benefited from it.
Yeah, so after this homestand, the 5 losses, the team was 2 and 5. After those losses, you often heard the players, especially Steve as well, saying, we're just not connected right now. We're just not competing right now. Connectivity, I think when you see the ball...
That was the word of the day
when
back in the start.
Yeah,
Yes.
the ball flying around, multiple
Yes.
touches for multiple guys, setting up the open shots. There you go. You don't reach 39 assists unless the team is feeling connected.
Absolutely. And also that aspect of competitive spirit. Because when you think about competitive spirit, especially from a team perspective, back when I was playing, a long time ago, folks. But when you think about that, you actually have more competitive spirit when everyone's involved. And you talked about, Steph laughing at his teammates, some of the shots that they're making and getting excited about that and getting happy about that. That is your competitive spirit coming out. That is, oh, it's not just me.
Yeah.
We all can beat you. We're all capable when we come together. And that is the fun competitive spirit that Kerr was saying had been missing. They had been disconnected emotionally, competitively. And so tonight, this was a really great win for them to get them back together and see that connectivity come back together.
This is one of those demoralizing games for a defense when you can't shut guys down.
They did everything.
No,
I mean,
there was this anything the defense threw at them, there was a solution. So it's like, okay, there you go. And that's how you arrive at 140 points. Now, the Warriors would like to clamp down a little bit more, make sure opponents don't reach more than 70 points at halftime.
Right.
131, that's a high total right there.
Yeah.
But you live with it when you get the W.
Exactly. If you can outscore your opponent, that works.
Sure.
That works. I think that you make a great point. The defensive aspect of their game, especially when it comes to that three-point line, is an issue. And I think my opinion is that there is an over-prioritization on the size aspect of the Warriors. The Warriors know that they're undersized for the most part in the paint. They know that across the league, they don't really have 7-footers like the other players do.
They are the shortest. At 6'5", they are the shortest.
There you go. So knowing that they're undersized, I think there is this mental aspect of, I got to help. I got to help whoever's in the paint with whomever. I've got to help TJD. I got to help Saric. I got to help Looney, whatever it is. And I think the Warriors tend to over-help to the point and to the detriment of their three-point line defense. And then you find people that are what my coach used to call floating in the sea. Okay? You're not in help.
Okay.
And you're not on your man.
You're always in the in-between of what to do.
Where are you and what are you doing?
Okay.
Right? And you have to call it out. And I'm sure they're watching film and they're seeing themselves kind of floating.
Sure. You're a buoy.
You're just I don't know where I'm going. I think I see this person over there, but this person's over here, but I haven't made a decision.
Okay.
And you have to be decisive.
Okay.
And I think that that's one of the things that the Warriors have to do. And when you think about looking at tonight's game, especially in the first half, if they're shooting over 60% from 3, my decisiveness is going to say, my help defense is probably going to go a little bit less in the paint and closer to my man.
Sure.
And I got to be decisive about that as a team. And you saw that in the second half. You saw Kerr switch up zones to man. And on that zone particularly, it was spread. It was great. I think it was spread really wide with enough time that if the ball got to a three-point shooter, there was a hand in their face.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I got you. Blake? No, you're right. And I was, to your point, I wish I had that. I wish I had that number in front of me, because the Bulls' three-point shooting in the second half really fell off. In the first half, it was a lot led by Kobe White. But yes, to your point, you're right. The Warriors made that adjustment at halftime.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, one more thing before we leave Steph. We got to circle back around to Steph. One of the things I noticed when I used to travel with the team was the Steph Curry show. He's very aware that people come to see him. He's very aware of what happens when he takes a rest night. Did you guys see this video of Steph signing autographs for the Bulls fans?
Wow.
He's swarmed wherever he goes. And this is Steph Curry. He could go back and hide in the locker room if he wants to. He could say, guys, I just want to be left alone. He has time for people. He has time for kids. It's the kids who show up for him. You see these signs in the stands. You know, I flew however many miles from Tokyo, from Sydney, from wherever to see you, Steph. It's my birthday. He might give a little head nod to those kids. So, you know, he's always interested in making sure that he can take care of people. There's only so much Steph Curry can do, but look for him. I almost have to go like this to be like, where is he in that crowd? Oh, there he is.
Where's Waldo, right?
Look for his security guard as well.
Right.
But that's Steph Curry, and he ended up, again, putting on a show tonight.
And what I love about that is that selflessness, because you see it on the court and then you see it off the court. And even as the game was winding down, what did he do? Went and took some pictures with some kids on the sideline. This is who he is on and off the court. This is what his legacy is about. And that's what you love to see about Steph. This is why his teammates love him. This is why Dub Nation loves him. This is why the Bay Area loves him. And this is why he's loved world-renowned all over the world. So it's beautiful to see.
All right, I'm going to take a quick glance at the bench, because you had Kuminga leading the way with the reserves with 24 points. How about Trace Jackson Davis coming through with 13? We're talking about going to the rim, knowing where your best shots are. 4 of 5 for him, also elevated for a block in this game. The confidence this rookie shows. We've talked about Pods' confidence before.
Yeah.
Can we just give a little sideways nudge to Trace Jackson Davis as well? He belongs.
Highest plus minus on the team tonight. And I will never forget, he told the whole league, you will regret this. I'm not going to put that down. That is, I love that. I love that, because it is a quiet confidence. He said that, and he hasn't said it again. It's me. I'm going to keep saying it for you, TJD. People are seeing the way that he is able to impact the game, the way that he's able to learn quickly. I love tonight that, I think it was Steph Curry that said, I love the fact that we have, or maybe it was Klay, that we have a center that I can pick and roll off of and that I can throw it into. And he has really, ever since he had to step up, done the job, done the deed. And anytime that he's being coached on the court, you see him on the sideline or right after maybe a foul or a turnover or anything like that, he is attentive, he's listening, he's paying attention, and he makes the right adjustments. I very much appreciate the fact that someone with his size and his athleticism is now on this team, because they need it, right? They absolutely need it. And Kevon Looney needs a backup. He needs someone to be able to help him. And so it's very, very exciting to see TJD develop in front of our eyes and already getting this level of exposure against some really big time talent.
The Warriors need a vertical threat. They need a rim protector. They have it. It's starting to percolate for this young rookie.
I like the way Monty said it to you the other night with their last loss, that TJD is a vertical spacer. And I never really thought about that, but that's very true. When you think about an above the rim player, that's what they do. They vertically space, and that pick and roll becomes deadly when you think about someone being able to roll to the basket and go up.
Exciting. Hey, and just for watching, I'm going to give you guys a little nugget. We have an exclusive interview with him coming up on Dubs Talk, the podcast. So stay tuned for that. That is in the works. It's coming. All right, next. This is the first game of a back-to-back. It gets harder tomorrow. We're going to talk about it. Let's see if this guy, Wiggins, can be himself in Milwaukee.
That's called above the rim, folks.
Oh, gosh. David Cano says still need a big. Okay.
All right. I would agree with that point. I think, you know, there were the rumors today that there was a conversation around
Siakam.
the Warrior, or Siakam, of course, but also just like the Warriors looking for a 7-footer.
Well, when you hear something like everybody but Steph is on the table, like listen, that has some tension to the locker room, especially, you know, even if players do their best not to hear anything. That doesn't mean their friends aren't hearing stuff or their families aren't hearing stuff and sending it to you. Even if you try to turn it off, the people around you know. And there's just tension. It's this time of year is difficult.
Just so you all know, like, our reporters have the opportunity to go into the locker room. They have off the record conversations, and these players are well aware of the trade conversations. And not only are they well aware, they're thinking about, will I be the one to get traded? They're having the conversations with their families. They're having the conversations with themselves, their agents. So trust me, it's not just us.
No.
In the X universe that are just talking about this. These players are well aware, and they know that every single game counts. Every single time they show up on the court, they're being evaluated for if they're going to be on the block or not. And I do think it adds a level of tension. But what I also am very curious to see is what level of urgency it creates amongst these players.
Yeah, that's fair. Marietta says, Zena, you are fantastic. You are the only one with amazing energy and a great analytical mind. Thank you. I am nice, just not an analyst. Okay, that's true.
Oh,
I can analyze a little bit, but I want Zena to shine.
Absolutely not. I think our whole staff here is very analytical, but
All right, welcome back to Dubstock Live. Listen, we have a lot of encouraging things that we talked about in this show, but one game does not solve everything, okay? The Warriors know they are back on the road tomorrow. They are busing to Milwaukee. They have the second best team in the East to contend with tomorrow in the second night of a back-to-back. This is a challenge. How can the Warriors rise to the occasion?
well, like we mentioned in postgame, the Young Bucks.
Okay.
Oh, and I don't know if I want to use the Bucks.
The Warriors' young players. I got you.
So young Dubs, excuse me.
I got you.
The young Dubs need to step up. They're playing less than 24 hours from the last start of their game, right? 4 p.m. tomorrow for them. And then busing.
Through a snowstorm.
Sure. And their Warrior vets played more than 30 minutes.
Yeah.
They are going to need some legs against, look at that starting lineup. Damian Lillard, Chris Middleton, Malik Beasley, Giannis,
and Brooke
Lopez. All players that can shoot the three. Mm-hmm. Giannis isn't the greatest at it, but that can space the floor, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And then also long, tall, athletic. The legs, the springs in the legs are going to have to come from the Young Bucks. So I really am looking forward to seeing a TJD step up, a Kuminga step up, Brandon Pajemski as well. I love his defensive efforts and his rebounding efforts despite his size. All of those things will be needed for the Warriors.
Massive game for the team to back this up. Keep taking care of the basketball. Keep moving the ball around. When it comes to young legs, I'm thinking of the bus ride and when your knees are against the seat in front of you and how uncomfortable that is. But you got to do what you got to do at a snowstorm to get to the game.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I'm sure they're going to be on some coach level bus, but even when I was on those coach level, we were trying to find our tall bodies laying horizontally. It wasn't comfortable.
Anyway, stretch it out, guys, and see if you can keep it rolling. All right, thanks for watching Dubstock Live, brought to you by Mancini Sleep World. Zena, Kerith, we're going to continue the conversation on YouTube in just a moment. Thank you very much for the compliments. We see you. Adriana says if the Warriors play good defense and have a couple hot shooters, they can win. Yes, they need more than 2 shooters. Okay, they need at least 3. And usually it's been Steph and Klay and somebody else. Last season it was Wiggins consistently. They're getting more from Jonathan Kuminga. That is really exciting.
But 4-4 tonight.
If Wiggins can keep this going as well, I just like when you have this kind of ball movement, everybody eats. And I think this was a kind of win that players can feel good about. They're like, okay, if I buy into this, there's going to be some for me too.
Oh, I love that. If I buy in, buy in.
Yeah, buy in.
Just buy in. I think that's the theme that the Warriors need right now is just buy in. That relates to the topic that Steve Kerr was talking about, is that connectivity, that's competitive spirit. All of that requires people to buy in to it. Even if you're not shooting well, even if you're not having a great night, just buy in. The energy is what will help uplift this team. So I think that's going to be huge. And then also, when you were talking about, who it was, Adriana, that mentioned a couple shooters and then some defense, the thing about it is you don't even need a ton of shooters. The Warriors actually were outshot tonight 45% for three for the Bulls versus 42.6. You actually, what I think you need more so than anything is consistent ball movement, which is what you were just talking about, and everybody eating.
Yeah.
As many opportunities as you can to have 2 to 3 big time scores, obviously you want that. But then when you supplement that with everyone else getting a few more points, I think that edges you out.
Yeah.
39 assists, to me, take that every night.
Sure, yeah.
Right? Take that every night. And you could take a lesson from the Indiana Pacers, because their defense is non-existent, folks.
But
and they're still outscoring, and everybody eats.
Everybody eats. Everybody eats.
I'm just saying.
All right, what time is it? Because I'm hungry. It's snack time. It's 9 o'clock. It's 9 o'clock. All right, guys. I want an ice cream sundae or something. I've got
Ooh, we gotta
lunches
celebrate
right now.
this,
I know.
right? It's
All
Friday night,
It's Friday
a win.
night.
Okay,
great.
I'm with that.
Good night. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye, guys.